Last week, you may have seen us go to McDonald's and order the Travis Scott burger. Well, today, Zay and I are going to try it, and we cut it in half. It's a quarter pounder with bacon, fries, and barbecue sauce, and a Sprite. But Zay already ate the fries, so we're just going to try the cheeseburger. It's going to be fun.
It's probably the best burger McDonald's has.
Yeah, probably. So Travis Scott, if you're watching, love your burger. 10 out of 10 recommend. Get the Travis Scott meal from McDonald's.
Say Cactus Jackson.
It's on the Cactus Jackson.
Fear is the thing that keeps you from being relaxed and faithful.
Fear is something that you're scared of.
Fear is something that you usually let control you and stop you from doing something that you either enjoy or you want to do.
Fear is what you allow to scare you, whether that's emotionally, physically, or spiritually.
Fear is something that can keep you from doing what you want to do, and it's something you're scared of.
Fear is our body's response to stimuli we perceive as dangerous. It tells us to act quickly as our lives depend on it.
Fear is the devil's way of making you anxious about something.
My biggest fear is losing someone I love.
My biggest fear is losing someone that I'm very close to, like a friend or family member.
My biggest fear is probably either plummeting from a really, really high spot or losing someone that I really care about.
My biggest fear is losing view of myself. My biggest fear is probably incompetence. Having someone tell me that I'm not enough to accomplish something.
My biggest fear is the negative thoughts others have about me.
My biggest fear is being denied by Jesus at the gates of heaven.
Could be the devil's way to torture us and lead us away from God.
Probably, maybe because before we knew Jesus, we were sinful, and then the devil wants to get us back in the routine of being sinful.
Because it's in our nature. But when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, they were just out there with all the animals and the uncertain conditions. They actually got kicked out of the garden when they were just in the world. There was stuff to be afraid of, and they didn't have a shelter, and they knew God was mad at them.
You only become afraid of something until it hurts you. Like if you scrape your knee, you don't want to scrape your knee again. If you touch the hot burner, you don't want to touch it again. So the first people weren't necessarily fearful. The reason why we have a fearful nature is because we've experienced so many things that make us fearful of other things. Building on what they were saying, on a large scale, on a very extreme scale, the people who don't fear things, the people who don't fear things don't survive. It happens to other people, and we hear about it, and that's like a secondhand experience. It tells us, hey, don't do that. It happened to somebody else, and it didn't go well for them.
I would say in elementary and middle school, I always was fearful of what others thought of me, and that's what brought out my not so good trait of always being competitive. I always wanted to be the best at what I do, because of people judging me. But when I got to ninth grade, and a lot of things happened that year, and that allowed me to become closer with God, that gave myself the validation that I needed, that's the only person I need to please. And I've honestly since then been a lot happier and been myself around everyone. So my thing would be being closer to God is the solution of fear.
I think to overcome fear, you can just pray to God and ask Him for help, and He can guide you through it.
Yeah, like Zay and Luke said, being closer to God, or maybe if some people don't know God, talking to a friend who does know God. Because I have a lot of friends who don't, and they talk to me about stuff, and they say it helps them.
If you're talking to someone else about how to overcome their fear, you can always talk to them about how God will lead you through the right path, even if you can't see ahead of you. And you will never know if you really like something unless if you try it, even if you're afraid.
Building off what they were saying, know God. If you're talking to a friend who does not know God, or even if they do know God, and you pray to God and you make a point to have a relationship with Jesus, God's gonna help your friend through whatever they're going through.